I'm not done yet. So, I mean, not with my conversation.
Listen, you son of a bitch.
You cut me off.
I'm not done yet.
I'm not done turkey hunting yet, is what I meant.
fucking leaving.
Sorry, that did come off kind of rude. Sorry. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Deer Grow.
Man, it's almost food plot season, Jared, and Deer Grow is one of those products that has really changed the way that we plant food plots and the success we've seen from them.
No doubt. I've been, trying to plant food plots my entire whitetail hunting career, which is a little shorter than yours. But the minute that I started, or that I realized that I could get Deer Grow back into some of these remote plots where I couldn't get lime or fertilizer, especially in the 50-pound bag, format. Mm-hmm. So everything was changed. I could get into these spots moving forward with a backpack sprayer, and that's since escalated to these 40 or 60 gallon sprayers, and we're doing upwards of 5 to 10 acre food plots just with Deer Grow and having phenomenal success.
Yeah, and I mean, with the price of fertilizer, lime, diesel, everything this year, I mean, what better way to get in there and grow a successful food plot at about a third of the cost? Check out Deer Grow at deergrow.com. And we're back.
Hey yo,
HUNTR Podcast episode 124. 124. Thanks, Nick.
Nick always have so much for random stuff. As soon as we open, I'm like, beaches, 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 beaches. Have you seen that one?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Did you all need to
what are you talking
that's
about?
the new Mario movie. That's that Jack Black song that everybody's singing.
Oh, new Mario. I don't know.
I haven't seen the movie. All I've seen is Jack Black singing a Peaches.
Chris Pratt's in it, right? He's
Peaches,
Mario.
Is he?
I think so.
Yeah.
Jack Black's
Bowser.
Bowser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Chris Pratt is Mario.
I'm a
Mario.
Jack Black fan for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. School of Rock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some weird moments. I've seen it award shows and stuff. He's some demonic stuff, but
I was a big Tenacious D fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Him and KG rock.
Yeah.
We started off with music last time, right? We were talking Nickelback. So now we're on to Tenacious D. Did you ever see the Tenacious D movie?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Movie,
hilarious.
Yeah, really good.
Pick of Destiny.
Is
I
that-
rewatched Shallow Hal the other day.
Did
We
you?
talked about this, didn't we?
Shallow Hal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
That was a good movie.
He's like, this one girl's got a great personality, but she's a solid 4. The other one's got one breast, but other than that, she's a solid 10. And he's like, what's the other breast look like? This question.
He had some bad movies too. He did a couple there where I think he went drama type, and that just doesn't work for Jack Black.
Really? What?
I don't even know what they
them.
were. Yeah, you wouldn't want to see them.
Me and my girlfriend started going to the movies on Saturdays just for fun. And last
Is there
week,
anybody there?
no, there's 3 people
That's
aside
so
from us.
crazy,
Yeah,
man.
but we saw Air. It was that movie about how
Jordan.
How Michael Jordan signed with Nike. And the
Okay.
whole time we're going, I thought it was a horror movie. I had no idea what it was even about. And we
What is
said
this? Get Out?
Yeah, I was like, what is this? Why is it in the 80s and they're talking about basketball? I thought this was a horror movie.
Was this Stranger Things? Was it good?
It was pretty good. Yeah.
I'm a big Jordan fan,
Yeah.
so
Matt Damon was in it. I like Matt Damon.
yeah,
He's
Matt
cool.
Damon's in it. Is Ben Affleck in that too?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie though.
I'm not a Matt Damon guy.
Really?
I like his movies. It's one of them deals where it's once as a person, I don't know that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
You just have to figure out which ones you like. Do you like Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting side?
Yeah. That's the
Dude,
best.
when I look back, I'm like, that is the real Matt Damon, just the most arrogant person you've ever met.
Yes.
The Good Will Hunting Matt Damon. That's who he is in real
Yeah,
life.
that's him to a T. Yeah, I mean, you got Robin Williams in it too.
There's some movies of his I really enjoy though. What's the Stuck on You?
Yeah,
Where
Stuck
he's,
on You, where he's the identical or the conjoined twin.
Yeah, that's a real good one. He's
Probably
in,
his the least popular movie.
I've never even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
He's in Interstellar, which is debatably one of my favorite movies.
Interstellar is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the one where he's on Mars?
Well, he's on. I mean,
Different
they
one.
had 2 movies come out at the same time.
Martian or something like
Yeah.
that. The Martian.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's some good
Anyways.
ones. Good Will is great. Anyways, it is April 20th. 420 now.
Oh, 420.
420.
It is.
Hey!
It's funny as we were trying to schedule our guest who we actually are going to have to end up rescheduling for. But when I don't know why that popped into my brain. I was like, how's April the 20th look for you? I was like, hope I'm not foiling any plans. And they're like, no.
They're like, what do you mean?
Never mind.
I don't know. Is that like a thing anymore with kids? 420?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
No?
That's what my wife said. She's like, what do you got today? I was like, podcast. She's like, oh, 420, you going to be? I was like, no.
Huh.
I don't think it's a thing anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know.
I'm sure kids wouldn't get it. Hey, you guys, what are you doing for 420? And they're like, I don't know. What the hell's April 20th?
Yeah.
Like,
Skipping school.
losers. Yeah, skipping school. Losers. It's April 20th. I don't know. Where should we okay, start with this. This is an interesting piece. Last Saturday, I shot my first precision rifle match, which was interesting because I don't shoot like guns in long range very often.
Mm-hmm.
I shot a long range rifle match.
What is that?
So it's like
A match? Like a competition?
yeah, competition. First competition.
Okay.
So you basically distances are between 400 yards and 1,000 yards, and then you've got like different obstacles of like how you like some of them are just like you're shooting off of a set of tires or through like a cattle gate, and then other ones are like moving setups. Like, and you have 100 in this match, it was a beginner's match. You had 105 seconds to complete the stage. So it's usually between 8 and 10 shots that you had to get off in 105 seconds. It's pretty complicated. Like
Where was this? I've never heard of
I was
anything
out
like
towards
it.
State College. Yeah, Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah, finished 28th out of 65. Not too bad considering I'm a bow hunter. Yeah, a lot of ex-military guys there, so I felt pretty good about myself.
Nice.
So that's like a big event then, like 65 people.
65 shooters, yeah.
So how do you, what's the prerequisite? You just sign up?
This was a beginner's match, so as long as you had never shot a competition before, you were allowed to be in it.
Okay.
And then after that, like you can't shoot a beginner's match. You have to shoot like a normal, in this case, this is PRS, so Precision Rifle Series match. Yeah, so I was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor, Ruger precision rifle. So, I mean, not like a super high-end long-range gun, but, more expensive gun than like your normal deer rifle. And, I was lights out. Like if I could acquire target, and just either be in like a modified prone position or like one of the ones was you had to shoot in your non-dominant side. So I had to use left eye, left hand to shoot.
What?
Yeah. Like those are the stages that they put you through.
Do
in
scopes
challenges.
even like work that way?
Yeah.
What happens if you look at it through your left?
You're disqualified on the stage.
Well, no, I mean, how does that change? Like when you look at it with your non-dominant eye, doesn't it totally throw it off?
You just have to try to, just like a bow, you got to keep your anchor points and stuff.
Huh.
Yeah. And so I shot lights out. I was 9 for 9. I didn't get the 10th shot out. I ran out of time. But the movement ones I sucked. I was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
So like you would shoot 2 at 500, and then you'd move to the next one, and then you had to shoot 2 at 700. Then you go back 2 at 500, then back at 2 at 7. And dude, I just couldn't. It took too long to acquire the target. So I think I went through, like I got like 6 shots off and was like 3 for 6 or something. Like, and then it times out, and you're like, what the hell? Like how? Like, how is it that fast? And it's just like movement and trying to get repositioned on a target that's, 400 to 600, 700 yards away is not
Yeah,
easy.
that's a poke.
Yeah, plus play wind and stuff like that.
I mean, how good are you like at 500 yards? I mean, you hit a paper plate 10 out of 10 times or?
Yes.
Yeah. How about 1,000 yards?
I mean, if I'm staged up and if it's not a huge crosswind or something,
Yeah, totally secure, like locked in.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 on 1,000 yards?
Mm-hmm. If I'm like just prone and shooting. But if I have to like move and acquire, then it's like.
What's like the furthest that you could even consider? Like
I shot
everything perfect.
I've shot 1140.
Okay.
But that's the furthest
And
I've
that's
had
way
the
out
opportunity to shoot range-wise.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many
That's
ranges
impressive,
past
dude.
that.
Furthest I think I've ever tried to shoot was 500 yards with our 22-250, which, I mean, I've shot that gun 15 times in my whole life.
Yeah.
And that was tough.
You'd be surprised. I mean, if you're anchored right, like this gun, I mean, if you set up correctly, like if I had you tuned up to shoot 700 yards, said, hey, there's the target, get behind it, shoot it. within 3 shots, you'd be hitting an 8-inch circle.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not that hard.
I'm just kidding.
The competition.
You're a pretty good shot, aren't you? You're a good bow shot, too.
I was a really good. Surprisingly, I'm a really good shot when, like I said, I'm acquired on target.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there were other guys who were, ex-military in my group, and, like, even the non-dominant one, like, guys were getting 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. And, I mean, dude, once I was on it, like, I was punching holes dead center every time.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know. It's just muscle memory. Maybe bow hunting helps in that sense. Like, once you're acquired on target, like,
I'm
it's
sure
not that hard. But the movement stuff was really tough. Like, just trying to then get back on target was like,
yeah.
And you're rushed because there's time elements in there and stuff. But that was fun, man.
Did I talk to you since I shot that? I don't know if it's skeet or trap. I can never remember the difference. But
is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. I'm gonna for sure mess this up. Nick can confirm, but I think skeet is like it throws them straight out off a thrower, like right in front of you, and trap is like out of 2 towers.
That makes sense. Crossover.
And they cross over.
Yeah.
I could have those mixed up, but
yep,
but either way, yeah, I shot a 66 out of 100, and I haven't shot that shotgun in.
Sounds good.
It's been sitting next to my bed for 5 years.
Because I thought, because Raz was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll just like hook you up with one.
No, I took my 12 gauge.
You did.
Yeah, and I had to look the night before. I'm like looking down the barrel. Fortunately, it had a.
It's like got an extra full turkey choke.
Well,
in
that's what I was looking at, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know where my chokes are at. So I mean, it's
yeah.
funny, dude. I mean, I
All
have
in,
guns.
extra full.
I'm obviously all for guns. I just don't shoot them very much. Like
Yeah.
I have plenty of handguns. Like
I've got a lot of
laying around the
guns.
house, and I just.
I don't. It's kind of weird. Like, well, we talked about it, and it's not that like I have no problem with gun hunting at all, but like I just I don't gun hunt very often just because I really love bow hunting. Growing up, I did. I mean, I live for gun season, and
Me too. First year I ever shot was with a gun.
yeah, I mean, I live for gun season and stuff, and I still like I small game hunt every once in a while. Turkey, I mean, if I go shoot a turkey, I'll shoot one with a gun. I know you shoot one with a bow, but I just want to shoot
turkey.
Yeah, I just want to shoot one in the face. I don't care.
I get it.
But there's something about this long range stuff that I'm into a little bit. Not like bow hunting into, but like it's fun.
Yeah.
Go out and set up and shoot 1,000 yards. The obstacle thing is a little bit different, but like just to go out and shoot rifles and shoot targets at 1,000 yards in different conditions, like it's pretty cool. And I have to imagine it helps a little bit on target acquisition and controlled breathing, which would carry back over on the bow hunting side. So yeah, I'm kind of stoked. I joined that Sportsman's Club here recently, so we have a 1,000-yard range out there I haven't shot, but it also has a huge 3D bow range on it too.
Oh yeah,
which I am super stoked to have.
I think if I was gonna get into like a shooting sport, I'd be more drawn to that style, like just like 3D archery is moving around different targets.
Yeah,
I could get into like NAR at different like whatever stations type of deal.
Yeah. It's fun, man. I mean the opportunities in that course, because I met up with a guy who kind of like said, hey, here's what to expect a little bit, but like I mean we didn't go through all the challenges and stuff because they mix them up every time. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I mean it was cool, and I would probably do another course, although they like get pretty serious now because I'm out of the beginner side, and like these guys are like hardcore reloaders. If you don't have like your chamber flag in the moment you step off the line, like you're gonna get punched in the face type of thing.
It's funny being at those events, dude. I felt that way at the trap shoot of just like I'm out of my element here. Like, I'm not. I feel like to go to a 3D shoot or really in my element, it's like I'm on a hunt. Like this is what I've been. This is what I'm really doing things for. Take me out of that and put me into like a shooting trap or a long range thing, especially. I'd be like, hey guys, you're gonna have to tell me like. No joke at the trap thing. I was like, how many shells can I bring up to this thing?
Yeah.
Like how many? Like is it 1, 2, or it's like I have
that's
no
what
idea.
I would have magazines, and I'm like, is this an 8-shot? They're like, no, you need to have 10. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like putting 2 more in.
Does anybody have a 10? Can I get a 10?
Well, and it's just because we're gear guys too. So like when we hunt, like we know where our gear is. We're like our gear's ready. And like I have that there, but like I'm not familiar with my gear nearly as much. So I'm fumbling through a backpack for my magazine, or I don't really have a good scope wipe or anything. Like and these guys are having like half these guys have scope caps, and it poured on Saturday. I mean, we were at one point in time, Nick and Alex were filming me, and I'm up on this the shipping container shooting 1,000 yards, right? And dude, it's dumping so hard. I couldn't even see the 1,000-yard target. Like I literally couldn't see it. I stood up and I mean, I had a swimming pool in my underwear from laying down. Cause I mean, you're just laying prone and I mean, it is just monsooning and you're trying to see 1,000 yards.
Like a rain delay?
Seems like that would affect. They delayed it right after. Oh, dude, it was. I mean, we're on like a roof slant, so you have to like crawl up this asphalt roof slant and shoot off the top, and like it's raining so hard, you're just sliding down, you know, and you're trying to like you have no footing, like it's just pouring, and so yeah, no, it was a rain or shine event. Now they did call it for probably 20 minutes when I mean you couldn't make any targets out past 700 yards. They were gone.
Is there lightning?
I don't know.
Walking around with a bunch of steel barrels pointing up in the air.
I had my walkers on, so I couldn't hear anyway. So it was probably cracking. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Are these things working?
So, but yeah, I mean, it's, I could see, I'll do it again. It was fun. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to be in like you said, though, I get real uncomfortable when I know I'm outside of my element. You know, because I want to go in, I want to be prepped, and I want to do. And as I got into that, like I felt really confident towards the end. But those first 3 or 4, it's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
It's good to suck at things from time to time.
Like I'm sitting there, and they're like, he's like, shooter ready. I'm like, okay. He's like, that means put your clip in and take. I was like, oh, I didn't know if I could. Like, can I do that now? You know,
I am ready.
You know, because in some of those places, like if I put my magazine in and I bolt. Like, shit, I don't know. Maybe somebody's going to punch me in the face or shoot me, you know, because it's like, when do you, because I've never done that before, like, when do you start to, like, actually be ready to shoot? You know, and in a lot of those cases, like, when you're shooting, so if you shoot and you have to move to a new part of the station, you have to leave that bolt open, no round chamber, not even, like, because most of those guns don't have safety long range. So then you move to the next one. Then when you get situated, then you rack your bolt to put the next one. So it's just, you know, getting the mindset around that, but
especially when there's safety involved. I mean, you're dealing with a firearm. It's no joke.
Well, and when everybody
you want to make
else,
sure you've got it right. Like, am I loaded? Not loaded?
Yeah.
Safety on? Safety out? Where am I pointing this thing?
When everybody else around you is like, they do this often, and you're the like fish out of water. You're like, oh, like I just got that gun 3 weeks ago. I've shot it once. Like, you know, it's like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, it's fun exposing people to stuff too, though. Like, you know, the people that showed me that I shot trap, there was 5 other guys. You know,
yeah.
And, I enjoy it. Like getting to take people, you know, hunting obviously is great.
Sure.
I enjoy that. But with things that I'm familiar with, like showing people, even at the gym, different exercises and stuff, I think we take for granted sometimes things that we like have learned over just doing things for a long time. It's like, oh yeah, a thing that comes naturally. It's this person has no concept of it, and it's fun to
so when you get
back to basics,
you pushed outside that element. All of a sudden, you find yourself in those shoes, and you're like trying to pick up like you know, observational tips around you to understand like, oh, need to be doing this and not that.
Yeah. Well, you can't just be afraid to ask. People are so worried that they're going to look dumb or like.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
and I mean, admittedly, I do too. It's like, okay, you know, like they would tell you what the course, like what you were about to do, right? And so the first time he was like, you know, shooter, understand the course, and it's like, yep. And then afterwards,
you're like looking around at me.
The one person I was there with, she's like, hey, next time repeat it so that if you say something wrong, he'll correct you. Because otherwise, when you say yes, they assume you knew what you were shooting at and when you were shooting. And you know, a lot of times guys would get up and I'd hear the guy who was watching for impact on the targets. He would say shooting at the wrong target. And you're like, oh shit, you know. But that's because they thought you were shooting at this yellow one and you're shooting at this yellow one or whatever.
You're like, no, that's the one I was shooting at.
They're like, wrong target. And you're like, you sure? Let me throw another one down there.
Yeah.
Here to confirm your trap versus skeet thing. Skeet shooting, the targets cross each other.
Backwards.
Okay.
And
trap is straight out.
Trap, they go further away.
What is sporting clays?
Sporting clays, that one. In addition to trap and skeet, sporting clays is a third popular shotgun shooting discipline, referred to as golf with a shotgun because it involves shooting a scenic course with no 2 courses alike.
So there you go.
So
That's what I was shooting.
You move course to
I was shooting
course.
sporting clay. So yeah, we had like 15 stations.
Yep.
And everyone was different. A lot of them had a tower on either side, but in some cases the tower was like behind the hill and it'd come up.
There you go. Yeah.
It was fun.
All I used to do was like buy the orange ones with the hand thrower and like zing them out there.
Yeah.
You remember doing that?
So that'd be trap, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have this. My dad does a lot of that.
Yeah.
He's got some friends that have a sporting clay range.
It's a big deal. I haven't got into that, but it's a big deal. Bird hunters get into that
My
a lot.
cousin in Nebraska was a state champion for
a
couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah, they're big into it out there. It was a college event. He had a sponsorship.
You know who else was really big into it? And I talked to him today. It was Voigthofer.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a really big, and I don't one of those, but he was really like high end. Like won a bunch of the events at like Seven Springs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does Nemacolin have a?
They do. They've got their own
clay pigeon
clay range. Yep. The shooting complex, I think, is what they call it.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good time.
I didn't realize it was a summer Olympic sport.
It is. No.
Oh yeah.
Jared's training now.
Yeah.
No, it was fun to it was fun to do once, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Put the gun back in the
closet.
and get my bow back out. But
yeah. So, anyways, that was the last weekend.
I did some turkey hunting this past weekend. So I guess while you were doing
did. Yeah. That's right. You season.
Yeah, we took a bunch of kids out. I think we had like 10 or 12 kids.
Weather was kind of shitty, right?
No, it was nice.
Was it? See, I was getting pounded with rain.
No, we had just one morning. We had a little bit of precip, but other than that, it was pretty good. Dude, the birds just, I don't know. We killed some. I think they killed one Tom and 3 Jakes.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I just couldn't get them. I mean, I don't know.
Just tight lip.
They just weren't. I don't know. Like Saturday, yeah, it took us we weren't into birds. And so,
see, that's the big, we talk about this a lot with your place. You know, in those big timber sections that I hunt, like I'll just get on the birds. In your place, those little island pockets, like if the birds aren't in there, you're not on them.
Yeah, and we walked 3 properties. So the first property that we started at was just went in blind, didn't hear anything off the roost, walked the whole property, found a set of sheds.
Did you?
And a match set laying right there, 2-year-old probably.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fun because I had the kid with me and I saw him 50 yards away and I had him go over and
pick him up. You pushed
him
over? Oh, yeah, I didn't pick him up.
Yeah, I tripped over him on the way.
He's like, look at the sheds.
Actually, I let him take him home. So I'm getting more generous at my old age. I said, you take them, dude.
He's like, if they were 4-year-olds, you'd be giving them to me.
Yeah, deer dependent. But so we went to another my dad's got all kind of properties locked down because it's through a ministry event. Mm-hmm. So people are more than willing to let us go turkey hunt. So went to the next one, walked the whole thing, didn't hear any birds, found one more shed, small one. Found 3 total sheds. Mm-hmm. We ended up at the Hinton, which is on our home farm. And, I'm patient with these birds. I'm not just like walking in and start yelping away. We're walking slowly, just listening. And I did have 2 birds fire off on the Hinton.
Mm-hmm. That's the one that they just cut?
Yeah. And it looks really good. We kicked a ton of deer off there. So we put a move on them and, thought we got close and they just didn't respond. So the next morning we started there
at the Hinton.
We just went back and they were everywhere. I mean, we heard probably 8 or 12 birds just firing off all around us. I knew for a fact they were right on the other side of the field, and I was working them, and they'd fire off, and there's a group of Jakes over there and whatever, and just never could get them to. Never saw them that morning.
Did you hear them fly down? Or
yeah.
You heard them fly down.
Yeah, they must have been 150 yards away.
Wow.
And they just had other plans.
That's still exciting for a kid. I mean, especially you don't have to wait long. Right out of the gate, birds are gobbling like you're fired up.
Yeah. And it was fun for a while, and then eventually he fell asleep. Dude, well, we put the first day, dude. I bet we put 5 miles on.
Yeah.
I mean, we were covering ground, and
lucky. Yeah.
And the second morning, so we started off. We were in them, and it just over the mid morning, it kind of stagnated. We got up and. Made a play on a few other birds. I did see some, there's 3 big strouders in a field. It worked all the way around them. Just seemed like when we would see them, they just wouldn't respond.
I would assume they were henned up.
Yeah. I mean, there was hens around for sure. And
that's the problem.
Some days it just seems so easy. It's just like, here they come. And other days it's just like, I'm talking turkey, but I don't know what I'm saying.
I do think that and this is different for everybody listening, talking our Ohio, Pennsylvania, well, because Ohio's normal season opens up this Saturday, and then Pennsylvania's normal season opens up next Saturday. But I do think as you get later into April and May, if you can get on birds, you've got a much better chance of calling them in because a lot of hens are going straight to nest and things like that. Whereas this early to mid-October or August, April. When the fuck month is it?
Yeah,
April.
I know. Feels like it, dude.
Yeah.
It's been 80 degrees.
I know. Early to mid-April, these birds are pretty henned up out of the gate. And so, they pitch down. They'll gobble on the roost. They pitch down, and they shut up pretty quick.
I'm not done yet. So, I mean, I'm not with my conversation. I didn't
listen, you son of a bitch.
You cut me off.
I'm not done yet.
I'm not done turkey hunting yet, is what I
I'm
meant.
fucking leaving.
Sorry, that did come off kind of rude. Sorry. I'm not done turkey hunting yet. Yeah. So I'm gonna so today's Thursday. Tomorrow I'm gonna head up, and Jed and I are gonna move that blind. We've got that muddy blind we're gonna move into place.
Yep.
And Dad's got a bunch of nice Dave Smith
Which
decoys.
muddy? Did he get a new one?
The one over on the McGivern.
Oh, the McGivern one.
Yeah, it's kind of off, like just in it. Dude, we're getting a thing figured out.
That's a harder property to hunt.
I'll tell you what, man. The more it is, the more we talk to, guys that can influence private property. I really am coming to the realization that, like, you can kill most deer under the right circumstances on a property, depending on its size, in one or two locations.
Mm-hmm.
And at the McGivern farm, we've got some really good deer. A few we've passed on a few years and stuff. I found some sheds off of nice 3-year-olds and stuff. So they're there. It's just challenging to hunt. There's not a whole lot of places you can get in on it. There's a big bottom food plot that I learned shed hunting this year, that there's mature buck beds around watching it, and the other part of the property is a big ridge that like you can't get onto the property without this deer seeing you.
You're just gonna push them.
So kind of limits you to areas on the property you can get, and a big section of the middle of it is farmed. And so fortunately this year we've got some corn going in, which we can get into if you want, but a lot of our strategy from year to year depends on whether it's corn or beans that get planted, because corn gives us that cover to be able to access different parts. Yeah, a lot of those properties out there, and it's probably similar in other parts of the country for sure. Like Kentucky hollows and stuff is. There's a lot of these properties, the main access is a road that cuts down through the middle of a valley, surrounded by ag, and then up above sets your timber ridges where a lot of the bedding is happening.
Yep.
And so the McGivern's no different. The Hinton I mentioned where we found those birds is no different. So we kind of have to wait for years that gets planted to corn. Not that we just don't hunt it, but when we have corn up until it gets cut, so sometimes that's not till Thanksgiving time. That allows really good access. And when we can work a deal with the farmer to have a blind put on a very specific portion of it, and mow down some corn in front of it, it's like, dude, it's almost a guarantee.
Yeah.
I know. I say that now. I mean, we haven't done it yet.
Well, I mean, you're right.
That's the plan.
It is critical. The corn thing is a big deal because that's where I'm getting ready to do some planting, but from a cover and access standpoint.
Huge.
Because a lot of these, and you've got them more than I do, those big open areas that are just beans is not easy to move through.
Those deer can see a long ways. I mean, they don't have eyes like we do at long distance to be able to tell what stuff is, but they know.
They see movement.
They see movement coming down a road, or and they're more than we think. I think they set up to watch specific access points.
Yeah.
And I've realized over the years that, like, man, there's some properties that I can't get into without these deer seeing me. So I have to either find a way around, access it from another direction, or use things like corn and screening to take advantage of spots.
That's what I'm trying to really embrace this year. I mean, I've got a lot of food to put in. I'm planting corn on both Ohio and the new Kentucky farm for the purposes of access, but I'm also going to be drilling some switchgrass for screening, and I put in Ohio, I planted some of that giant miscanthus yesterday.
Yeah.
In two different spots. I have no idea what to expect out of that stuff.
How did that work out? How do you where do you get that stuff?
I got it from Real World. From
and
Don.
They sell it in.
It's a big bag of it.
And you just bury the bag?
No, you pull each little nodule root out and you plant it in a 3 to 4 inches deep.
Okay. Why was it a pain?
Because it was like a matted mess in that bag. So think of like, I don't know, probably 100 nodules just like in a big vacuum seal bag, and it's just like all rooted and
just hard to get them apart.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't want to like break them.
You plant them with like a dibble bar or something?
I had a little pickaxe with me.
Yeah.
So I just pick, pull it apart, drop it in, put it back over.
Yeah.
So Don recommends like 3 rows for good screening, 5 rows for like grape. That's a lot of freaking miscanthus for a long distance.
How far apart do you plant
18 to 24 inches.
Okay, so tight.
Yeah. So I mean,
they get big, right?
Yeah, they get big. So
they get like 6, 8, 10 foot tall, 6,
like
8 foot
10 plus. Yeah.
And I'm thinking of it,
And
it's just like a patch of grass.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like a big patch of grass that comes out. So he's doing like 3 to 5, 18 to 24 inches apart. So on one section, like a main place, I need a really good screen because it's like where I come from, in Ohio at least. I come from my cabin to the one access where I'm going to have corn. I did 3 rows deep for about 25 feet. So that should be pretty, like a freaking wall basically through there. Then I had an approach up to a box blind, which was wide open last year.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you plant those through like a tree planter?
Probably.
Dude, that'd be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Just take it slow and.
I'm sure I bet that's what Don and those guys do.
Yeah.
Because you see these huge screen rows that they're doing.
I like that a lot. How quick do those grow?
I think first year.
First year, 10 foot?
I don't know. That I would be very surprised.
If it didn't do that?
Yeah.
Or
if it did do that.
Yeah.
I was thinking like 4 or 5 feet this year.
Any maintenance with those? Like
burn it every 3 years.
You have to burn them?
That's what he said.
Every 3 years?
I'm sure you could just cut it. Like if it's not a huge area, just cut it. Like those grasses, like ornamental grasses you have out in the yard, like people just cut those things every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that works out for. Have done it with a chainsaw.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Instead of burn, so where I have a bunch of corn out, or I'm going to be planting corn, and then I've got a strip from it's probably about 50 yards long from the access from these woods to my box blind, and I did a single row on each side. So like I made a tunnel.
Okay. I
don't know if that's going to be thick enough, but like. I also, like, if they see my little feet moving through there, I don't freaking care. Like,
yeah.
It's more of just, can I get in there in the morning? And I'm also going to have corn all around me. Like, It's not like it's going to be brassica right next to me.
Yeah, it's tough. Like you're saying, I've thought in many cases, how could I just make a dome, like a tunnel all the way
tried to make.
500 yards across this field?
Yeah, that's what I basically just tried to make for 50 yards. So I don't know. I mean, I've got 2 other bags or another... 1 bag left that I'm going to use in Kentucky.
How many times in a tree stand, dude, have you thought about, what comes from, you ever read, is it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where they talk about the elevator that's on a glass, like sky hooks?
Yes.
How many times have you been in a tree stand and just thought about like how I could just get
I was thinking more of like Vietnam tunnels. Like if I had like a Vietnam tunnel
You're
system,
going underground?
I'm going underground and just pop up and be like,
that would be, can you imagine? I wonder if anybody's ever actually done that. Like, if
probably,
like use a mine system or like something to.
I've got a mine system under my house here. I wouldn't go into it though.
Yeah,
it's spooky.
Just light a match first. Let her burn. Burn off that excess methane.
Just collapse on me. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Stealth Cam.
Dude, where would we be without our cell cams?
I would definitely be divorced at this point.
Yeah, I hear that.
I mean, the fact is I spent more time checking cameras than I actually did hunting prior to cell cameras. Now, at least, my wife can enjoy me being in the comfort of my own home, buried in my phone, checking those pictures.
Yeah, 100%. And dude, when it comes to trail cameras and definitely cell cameras, reliability is, I think, the number one thing that we're looking for. Stealth Cam just has a long reputation of reliable cameras, and ultimately that is the most important thing to us. They have to work.
In terms of reliability, there's not a better camera on the market than Stealth Cam, whether you're talking about the Fusion X, the Reactor, or the DS4K Transmit. And most of them are under $200.
Stealthcam.com. Check them out.
But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how that works. It's the first time I've ever planted miscanthus. I know some of the guys are planting like miscanthus like switch, like for a big bedding area. I don't know about that. I feel like I know it's not invasive. They say it's not invasive, but like, I don't know if I'd be planting that for like a huge like bedding area.
Why not?
I don't know. I feel like that might get out of control at some point.
There's an area.
I don't know if deer would use it either, like for bedding.
Yeah. Here's a question I have. I do want to kind of get into this because now that I've got that big section burned off, that was like my, phase one.
Yeah.
Because I do want to plant some switch. There's some other areas that have So the reason I did the burn and the old field management in this area is that it had been left go. It was one of the only parts of the farm that wasn't already
turned to crops.
Turned to crops is the main thing.
It's just old pasture.
It's just old pasture. It's old fescue mainly. And there's one more section of it that I want to plan to probably burn next year. So we'll knock that out. But beyond that, now I want to start looking at some areas that we have farmed for the past like 3 to 5 years
and take them back out
and seeing if I can convert those back into, because now
they should be eligible for CRP then.
Whether it's CRP, that would
like
be
actual paid CRP. So your dad wouldn't be like, oh, we can't take it out of crops. It brings money.
Yeah, and CRP doesn't pay as much as I don't think it does.
I think it does.
He's getting about 75 an acre.
Oh, he'll get more
crops.
He'll get more for CRP then. CRP's paying like 130 to 150 last I saw.
For like, what's the time frame?
20 year per acre.
And you have to put it in for 20 years?
I think so.
Okay. So that could be a deterrent too, but maybe so.
I may have a 10 or 15. I don't know.
So as I start to look at that, and you may be able to envision this in your mind, but do you know on the Hinton, do you know what the Hinton looks like?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you know where the Dale's at?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So do you remember that back behind it, I have kind of a secluded ag field? It's just big enough that they plant
That's where a slob always is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, not always, but that's
where it was.
I think that field's like 10 or 12 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you have that field, you have the Dale that loops around this big bedding ravine and ridge back here. And over here is there's I'm going to say it's another 10 or 12 acre field where the pinch is at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
I've got a perfect opportunity to plant this backfield in switch probably, some combination. Use the Dale as like the ultimate transition to a big grain field.
Yeah.
And then maybe even enclose it in like a big whatever screening or something like
big
that.
Screen.
Yeah. And some of the timber that we did here this past year has made some really nice access roads to be able to get back into some of that stuff. So I planted the Dale and clover this year. Those are both getting planted in, I think, beans this year. So it just is what it is. But I'm thinking maybe next year I pull that out and we plant that 10 to 12 acres in switch.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
The
switch thing will be interesting because I was planning on doing a lot of switch planting this year for bedding, or I don't know, just instead of old pasture, basically. I'm going to end up doing 3 or 4 acres instead of, I think I was planning on like 12. So I'm going to do it's up front where I pull in, no food up there, kind of more traffic up there. So, I'm sure deer will use it, but, I don't know if I necessarily expect them to use it as like a dedicated, like big bedding area. And then instead, like where I was going to do other switch, I've either got corn going in or I'm leaving it as fallow for at least this year to see what I've got time for next year, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I was just biting off too much to chew in year one. Like I got to get this corn in next week. And then I've got some bean areas. Note to the listeners, we did not get drawn for North Dakota. So it means I'm probably all in on a velvet whitetail in Kentucky. So I've got to make sure I get my beans in for sure.
Yeah.
And then I've got some big brassica fields and stuff. So yeah, I just had to prioritize a little bit there. I mean, I was ahead of the game, but I'm taking some soil samples. I don't know what I'm getting into there for fertilizers, and I'm gonna deer grow the shit out of it, but still. It's been old pasture for 10 years.
You sent me a barrel yet, by the way?
I have the order in. I don't know if I pushed it.
Hook me up. I need that for beans.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I just sent Skalma a bunch.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I will. I'll get that for you. But yeah, I don't know. I pulled soil samples yesterday in Ohio. So here's kind of an interesting thing. You haven't planted corn. You just let the farmer plant.
I never have. I like to let other people go before me and learn from their mistakes.
Yeah,
you and Jed are like my guinea
I'm going to
pigs.
have mistakes here. So I've got 2 different types of corn.
Well, listen, Jed's planted corn, and he's had really good success with it.
Yeah. I hope so. I mean,
he broadcasted it.
See, and I'm going
to broadcast, call to pack it in.
I'm going to drill it, so I feel like I'm up, at least a step on that. So I've got 2 different types. I do have some of the NutriCrave corn from Real World.
Sounds like a cereal.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So, but it's...
What am I thinking of? Crave cereal.
Crave.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's just Crave. Yeah.
Making me hungry.
I don't know. You can't really. So it's not Roundup Ready or anything, right? And I don't even know if I think it's herbicide sensitive.
It's not.
No. So I mean, you plant it and you get what you get, type of thing.
Well, dude, and in the same vein here, don't let me distract from where you're going with that. We are getting, like, I think we're fine tuning that a little bit. Like we're really leaning towards like weed maintenance as tightly tied to a planting as possible.
Absolutely.
I'm really hoping that that's gonna help with like what we've dealt with a lot of like weeds.
Well, I mean that's the big thing. So for the first time ever, I sprayed a pre-emergent with my Gly a couple weeks ago in Kentucky and Ohio. So, I mean, I took a proactive approach to weeds because normally I'm just Gly, nuke it all.
Yep.
So I actually did a pre-emergent down to help control weeds prior to planting. Now, you can't use that pre-emergent in beans and you can't use that pre-emergent in brassicas because it will not let the seed grow. But in terms of corn, it works. So I've got pre-emergent down. I've nuked it. I do have, we talked about it. I have some of that standing broom sedge that essentially it's going to be like whatever buffalo method. I'm just going to roll it right over.
Yeah.
It's nuked. It's dead. It's just standing.
I honestly think it helps. I think if you have vegetation above the soil that isn't like thatch, isn't preventing the seed from getting to the soil, all of that holds moisture once you roll it over onto the, you know, and kill it, obviously. So
that's the hope, is it's nuked. Now I am
that's the Grant Woods or whoever coined it, but the crimping method.
Yeah, crimping, buffalo, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, we're not partnered with these guys anymore, but I've got that Tar River drill. I am in the process of doing the final outfit to have my sprayer mounted on the drill as well. So I'm going pure one pass. In the case of Kentucky, it looks dead enough that I'm probably going to be spraying plot start directly behind it. In Ohio, I'm not sure yet. I may have to Gly behind instead of plot start just one more time because it looked like I had a little bit more growth when I was there yesterday than I have in Kentucky. But one thing that's interesting is those ag fields, or at least in Ohio, I planted brassica in a lot of those fields last year. Like they look like remnant ag fields. Looks like last year ag fields. That Kentucky stuff, that's old pasture. I mean, it looks like it's a pasture field that I'm trying to convert here. So I imagine I'll have more success in Ohio. I bet it's better soil than I will in Kentucky. But, you know, I'm also not trying to grow a yield. I just want corn for deer.
Yeah, so what's your concern? You're saying it's got too much grass in it?
No, it's just I bet it's poorer soils. So I don't know, you know, I'm going to hit it with deer grow. I'm going to hit it probably with some fertilizer when I get my soil samples, but I just wouldn't expect as good of a corn, you know, production on that one in the first year at least as I will. Yeah, whereas Ohio looks really fertile. It's a bottomland, you know, with the creek and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where those are top kind of plateau areas. So we'll see. I mean, if it grows and puts ears on, I don't care. Like that, mission accomplished.
Yeah, sweet. I'll definitely consider it at some point. I've made the mistake of in the past few years or I don't know what it was that I kind of felt like, well, you know, the bean field's a lot of work and like, you know, I've got a lot of other smaller food plots to put in and stuff. And, you know, having a few years of each to compare, I really do think having a big destination food source like that, regardless of how or if you can hunt it specifically, made a big difference on
just knowing
holding
where the deer
on my
going.
property.
Yeah.
So I'm getting back to it. So like I said, we're doing that 12-acre bean field this year. But
yeah, that's huge. I think it's you know, we talk about kind of how these deer move. I mean, sure, if you've got a 1-acre field, they're going to come and eat in that 1-acre field, but they're going to continue to move past that, right? That it's not the destination that they're heading towards. So, you know, I think the more that you can have on there, and I mean, keep in mind that the more food you have, the more deer you can hold too. You know, if you got a 1-acre field of beans or corn, they're gonna mow that thing down, and then
which is a problem that we have. I mean, dude, we have I'm gonna say a high deer population. You know, we need to shoot more does for. I mean, we try, you know, but on 1,000 acres, like what does 6 to 8 a year really even do?
Yeah, nothing.
We need to shoot some more.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm gonna try it. I've got that drill set up. So I think if you're listening to this next Tuesday, Nick, right?
Yeah, it'll be
27th,
25th.
25th. I will be planning maybe today. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what the weather's like.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to get Kentucky's corn in. Yeah, this week.
Word. Yeah, dude, we're cranking. What do you think on that switch? So like if I got to pitch that to Dad.
Super torn on it. if you do it and you don't get, if you can't get the local drill, you should use my drill because I've got 7 or 10 seed cups
I can get the
on it.
local drill. That's what I'm using for the beans.
Yep. And so I'm torn on it.
Worth noting too, like if anybody doesn't know that, I don't have a no-till drill.
Right. You rent one.
Yeah, so I rent one from the county.
County or NRCS?
It's through NRCS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy's name's Pete Kunkel.
Yep.
If you're in my part of Ohio, that's who you would call. He's with, what does that stand for? Natural
Resource Conservation Service?
There you go.
I think so.
Something like that. And they have a 7-foot and a 10-foot drill, like for rent, and it's like $15 an acre, I think. So I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty affordable. They bring it out and drop it off, and it's a piece of cake.
And just hook it up and roll.
Hook it up and roll. I mean, set your whatever you're based off what you're planting, you want to calibrate it correctly, and they'll help you do that and stuff. So I'm using that for beans. But my question is in regards to the switch. I'm trying to think who our inspirations for switch are. I mean, it's probably Sturgis more than anybody.
Yeah.
And you've sent me some videos. You're like, what does this mean? What is he saying here?
Yeah.
In terms of like how to incorporate food.
Right.
To make it a legitimate bedding area.
Because I mean, the deal is if you plant, let's say 10 acres. If you plant a 10-acre switch monoculture, I'm not saying deer won't use it, but that will not be definitive bedding area. And the reason is because there's no food, right? I mean, we saw that deer a couple of years ago in Illinois, bed down. He got up and ate like 12 different times during the day and laid back down in multiple spots right there. So there's no food, right? They're not going to bed. Now, people will say, well, you don't want food in that because then how are you going to get them out of it? They're still going to leave.
I think, and so after watching that video you sent me, to me that all meant like size,
size matters, Nick.
Yeah. Well, basically, you don't want like a destination food source in the middle of your bedding area because that's where they'll go.
That's where they'll go.
But if you just splice in, here and there bits of food so that they can bed throughout it and have easy access to food.
And I also like it against like timber. So if you have timber, then switch, then food, it's like a layered approach there. So they'll use that switch, I think, as like a temporary transition, or they'll feel at least more secure moving through that switch even in daylight hours.
And I wonder what the right like ratio is. I think even Sturgis said like whatever it is, 1% or something like that. But like to me, so here and we'll have Sturgis back on. He can tell you everything that I'm telling you that's wrong. But the way he has it is kind of like if you have a block of switch like this to do pockets, little islands and stuff all over, and that to me seems challenging to
very tough to
establish. Like how do you do that?
So what I did, at least in this Kentucky place, is I've got actually 2 areas within this 4 acres of switch. One is already kind of a grown-up area. The other one I just left fallow. So it was pasture ground, and I just didn't spray it. I'm leaving it fallow. And I may go back in and either burn it or disc it next year, depending on what my switch does. And then I just did switch all around it. So I've got like 2 islands, which are not big, but I mean, decent size, 1/10 of an acre.
Interesting. To just leave it go. I almost like that better because I was thinking like, well,
because it's going to grow briars and stuff.
Yeah,
which is what you want.
I guess you're right. Initially, I was thinking like I'd plant, I don't know, clover, or like something.
I don't know if I have I'll look to see if I have a picture here too.
Yeah, but to the like scattered approach, I'm thinking it might make more sense to just like leave a strip. Like since I'm planting the switch in strips anyways, just like every third row, just leave it go.
That would make sense.
Just it's in ag production right now. If I just every third row leave unplanted and switch, it should come back as broadleaf weeds and good stuff, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's what, actually, I did it on an Instagram story. That's why I don't have it in my phone. But yes, so that's kind of what my mindset was, is if I leave that old pasture go, like
maybe just run a disc through it, turn it over.
Yeah, either a disc or a little bit of a fire through there would probably help.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, so then I would just leave it. I'd just leave it go. And I'm, like I said, I'm not doing anything next spring if I don't get like the results that I'm hoping for in that stagnant area. Because in 1 year, you will have briars and stuff show up. If there's sunlight hitting that ground and it's fallow, if you'll be able to see forbs and briars coming up. Yeah. If I don't have that, I'm going to turn it. Just drop a disc and turn it real quick.
Yeah. We ended up doing that on the burn. Did I tell you that?
No, you did disc it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Dad was getting restless, and I kind of was too.
I mean, you'll get your early disturbance plants like.
Yeah. Well, so we burned at the end of February, and I was like, whatever it was like 2 weeks ago, maybe more, 2-3 weeks ago, where he's like, hey, there's nothing growing yet. And I'm like, yeah, there's not. He's like, think I should run a disc through it? I'm like, it's probably not going to hurt. You know, you probably.
I mean, just let it go, Jared.
Probably buy us some time. So yeah, he went out and turned everything over, and
that'll get it going though.
Yeah,
you'll have a bunch of. It'll be all ragweed probably this year, which is good
for sure.
And I mean,
it's gonna be ragweed
probably
city.
Switched on that. I mean, in terms of like high quality natural forage.
Oh, you want
ragweed?
Dude, ragweed's about as good as it gets. That's got like more protein than soybeans.
100%
for a summer food source. It'll all die off in September.
Yep, and it'll just. But I mean, yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, that's what I just kind of did. Is I didn't spray those 2 areas, and I'm just leaving them. And then I planted switch all around it.
So where you planted switch, did you do a pre-emergent?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that'd be, I would think a big issue is you want to deal with the weeds up front.
Yep, pre-emergent and glide on that. And then I'm going to come in when I go next week, I'm going to drill switch in those areas. And the big thing around the switch is you've got to understand how much hard seed you have in the switch. Because if you have hard seed in the switch, it needs a freeze to crack to germinate. Well, at this time, we're not getting any freezes. So you want
how much hard seed?
Yeah. So there's
is there like always a percentage of hard seed?
Yeah. So usually there's a lot of switch varieties out there that will be, or people are selling switch that will have like 70-75% hard seed, which means that seed will not germinate until it freezes and cracks open.
Where'd you get your switch from?
I bought a bunch from Sturgis. He's got a northern blend that I bought, and then I also got some
sweet aromatic Nordic
blend
blend.
nectar. And then I got some from Deer Creek Seed, I think is what it was called.
Okay.
Deer Creek Seed. I got some switch from them as well. But I know Sturgis has like, I don't think he has any hard seed in it. So it will all germinate as soon as the soil temps are right.
What's that run like? Is it on a per acre basis?
Yep.
Or?
So I think he's selling a 5-pound bag and a 20-pound bag. 20-pound bag should do 2.5 acres if you're drilling.
How much does that cost?
$100 and some bucks, I think.
$100 some bucks for 2.5 acres.
I think so.
So if I wanted to do 10 acres, it would cost me
$1,000,
$1,000,
give or take, $800 to $1,000.
Yeah, and if I can get the state to pay for that, I mean that's right.
Yeah.
Through the CRP program, I can elect which.
Yes, I think they will.
What I'm doing and stuff.
Yes.
I wonder how they feel about the patches throughout it.
I think they're fine as long as you're taking it out of ag. That's the whole point of CRP.
Yeah, it is.
As
That's why I put it in ag to begin with.
Yep.
This was years ago. This is years and years in the making. This is like when I was a teenager. I was like, how do I get this in CRP? And they're like, well, it has to be in
ag.
Yeah. So back then I told my dad, I said, hey, we need to get this stuff in ag.
Which coincidentally is my planning with Kentucky. It's going to take a while. And in fact, I'm kind of setting the table because I'm going to have to, I think you actually have to like show farming receipts and stuff at some point on CRP, like that it was in ag.
Okay.
And so like for me doing it right now, it's kind of like, I'm just planting stuff. But once I get it established and stuff, I could have somebody come in for a couple of years and plant the whole thing.
Yeah. It's taken, years and years. I can't say that that's the fastest way to, turn this into a deer hunting property because when you have a monoculture crop, it's not necessarily providing any cover. It just is what it is. But it will end up paying for your CRP down the road. So that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have a cool contrast to be able to, a year or two from now, I'll be able to look back and say, well, we took this 20 acres and it was never planted and we burned it off and turned it over. And here's what that looks like in terms of a food source and a cover. And here's this other one that we went and put it into 3 to 5 years of ag and then eventually planted switch and it's getting paid for. And here's what that bedding looks like. So I'm excited to see how those kind of compare.
Yeah. And I think your farm sets up for it because you have more open space than you need, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of having to make every inch of open space count on my farms, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mine will be through the timber harvest where I see my greatest return and then bedding come from.
Well, and if this works, like next year, the old field stuff is what it is. Like that stuff was just never there. We made the most of that.
Yep.
I've got a lot more of this potential ag conversion stuff. And so if that what we do, it won't be till probably next year we would start that. But if that pans out the way that I want it to, and we can kind of design a hunting situation out of different nooks and crannies on the farm, I've got a few other areas where that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially, dude, if the state will pay more than the farmer's paying,
They should.
Not that I want to kick the farmer off or anything. I mean, we have a great relationship with him. There's plenty left to farm, but there's small areas where that could make a lot of sense for us.
I mean, that's the incentive of CRP is they usually try to top what cash crops paying on your rent. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt Archery.
Dude, where would we be without our Hoyt bows?
Probably shooting crossbows.
or a Matthews, yeah.
One and the same.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, we love being Hoyt guys because you stand out. When you're in this room full of other people that shoot these other types of bows, I feel like the Hoyt guys just stick out.
Dude, it's just a legit bow. I mean, especially that carbon riser, man. I mean, I know that they've got several other aluminum lines as well, but for me, I'm shooting that RX5 in the carbon model. They've since come out with the RX7, and I can't tell you how much I love being a Hoyt guy amongst a sea full of Matthews guys. So we're out there, I think, proving them wrong, shooting 80 pounds and killing stuff.
Hey, man, if you want to get serious, get Hoyt.
Can you visualize in your mind, like, I know you've only been to my farm once or twice, but you know where the Dale's at, and you know where that back. I mean, dude, areas like that are just so perfect because it's like the problem with the Hinton is I can't get to so much of it.
Yeah.
And this field that I'm talking about putting into CRP is buried. There's no reason for us to if we're walking through that now, we're walking through too much.
Sure.
And so I'm working kind of back towards the entry of the property. So if I can put bedding in the back,
pull them up to the front
and pull them up to an area that's able to be accessed and hunted.
Yeah.
That seems like the ticket.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't, and again, obviously I'm planting some. I have not had firsthand experience of deer and particularly mature bucks using switchgrass. Which
seems
question.
Crazy. I mean, did you see like you watch hunting videos in Kansas or big CRP areas, and you're like, oh, here he comes out of the heart of it,
Yeah, and I mean, most of that isn't switch though, right?
What is
it? I mean, just other warm season grasses and fallow fields. I mean, you think about these cattle rotation fields; they're not planting switchgrass in that. It's just fallow fields and probably has some briars and forbs and things like that.
So what's the argument for not I would look at that and say, well, why can't you just mix in all that other seed like food? Just have it an assortment.
I think it's the competition on the switch that probably won't succeed, or you put so much food in there that the deer don't come out.
Well, so and I've watched some videos of Jeff. We need to really have Jeff on to effectively have this conversation
guy.
Here, but he alluded to it would be more of an issue with structure. Like the switch really needs to be the dominant species to have enough structure to remain standing.
Yeah, and so my initial plan in Kentucky was I was going to do, I think it was 8 acres, and I was going to do basically long cuts of fallow.
That's what I'm thinking.
In that 8, because, I mean, the ultimate thing that we want to create as deer habitat guys is edge, right? So an 8-acre monoculture of switch has no edge. It's just 8 acres of switch.
Well, even better yet, dude. I mean, throw a pattern out there. Like do
well, I mean, anything that creates
all
edge
the way
on that. Like, so if you cut, and this is what I'm thinking with these islands. So I've got these islands in there all around. I mean, deer are going to be laid up against that, right? It's the edge of transition. It's just fallow and briars and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's browse right there.
They'll
be tucked right up against it. So, but if you create long and skinny ones, you've got more edge, more surface area edge that you've created for deer to kind of lay and browse against. So that would have been my initial plan. But frankly, it was more laziness in that I was spraying a whole area, and think about like if you were turn sprayer on, turn sprayer off, turn sprayer on,
I was just thinking about that.
It's pain, especially with the pre-emergent. I'm not worried about glide whatever the hell you want, and let new stuff come up. But if you pre-emergent, you're going to suppress a lot of the stuff in the soil that you want to come out of the seed bed. So in the case of when I was spraying for switch, I couldn't do that pattern because I'd pre-emergent. I would have had to try to and then when I come back to plant switch, it's like, well, where did I spray? Where did I not? Like, what am I leaving fallow? Like, it should be changing colors, but it's still hard. So that's where I think just blocking off areas, which is why I end up saying I just did some circles, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this. And then everything else I'm going to play and switch. And we'll see what happens.
I almost wonder, it may not be the most cost-effective method, but it almost seems like you could just, I've got my slate's pretty clean. It's like a whatever it is, 10-acre square. So it's it's a diagram. I can visualize that. Seems like maybe you just plant the whole thing and switch. Just plant it entirely, and then go back with a disc.
Yeah, you're just wasting a lot of money in seed.
Yeah. Well, depends how much of it you.
I mean, even if you put 1 8-foot row, that's a lot of switch seed you're just wasting. I mean, that's the whole and you know, you're probably going to have to put a pre-emergent down, which means your seed bed's going to suck coming out if you sprayed it for switch.
Yeah, it's tough. How do you do that?
No, somebody's going to comment and they'll tell us how to do it.
I hope so.
And Sturgis will tell us, the switch king.
Yeah.
Old switchback.
Switchback.
Yeah.
Play off a silverback.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. So I'll be excited because I know deer will use it. It's just you think about, and you're right, you think about these Midwest and Iowa and they're coming out of the CRP, but like Jeff uses switch a lot for screening, of which I am too. I'm going to use a lot of switch for screening, mainly in Kentucky. But I don't know how many like big and I think he also is limited in open space, but I don't know how many big blocks of switch he's putting out there.
Well, dude, okay, maybe I'm overthinking this. Here's the alternative. What if I just don't plant that field next year?
You just leave it fallow
and turn a whole thing over.
Yeah, it would be a giant briar patch at some point.
Which would be a strong argument. I mean, it's
the argument, the issue
payment.
there is that you've created great structural bedding that also is loaded with food that then will likely not lead to those deer getting up and moving to your transitional plot where you're hunting as frequently. I mean, they're going to move. I'm not saying that they're not going to, but I mean, think about a deer that has the highest quality browse at its nose. Like, why does it have to leave there? That's the argument. At least that's the argument that's been made. And again, I'm not the right person to talk about it because I don't plant big switch fields and stuff like that.
I think it's because they want to socialize. I think that I mean, if you have like a big patch of cover that is also food and a transition area into a designated food source like soybeans is probably what I would plant.
Yep.
I would have a hard time believing that they're not going to transition into those beans to socialize and the does.
No, and I think they will. I mean, it is.
I know what you're saying.
Just when, yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like when we talk about corn piles, right?
In November, I mean, dude, all
absolutely, no doubt,
all that food starts.
I'm just saying, in a year-round scenario, like in the late spring when that food is at the primo top.
I don't care.
You don't care,
yeah.
But they're probably not going too far from their bed at that point. Home ranges are super tight. Food's here, bedding's here. I don't have to leave.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly. I don't have enough experience with this old field management to know in October, November, like what that actually looks like. I have to imagine, like eventually, it turns into woody browse, and some of it, it's not as palatable.
Yeah, but I mean, a deer's diet is 60 to 70% woody browse at that time.
Sure. But they're still going to transition out of that into like a standing grain food source.
Absolutely.
When times get, weather gets tough.
As long as it's available, they'll go. I mean, if you have a green field, they'll go to it. If you have acorns, they'll still go to it.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not going to go to it. It's just, if they can survive on everything there and it's unpressured, the question becomes like, why leave and how often leave? I don't know what the answer to that is.
And all of a sudden, I'm back into like not knowing what to do with that field.
Yeah, because I mean, if I
just let it grow,
and I've talked to a few people about it of like, well, what if I just plant this all in switch? And it's like,
isn't it funny how you have?
Are they going to use it?
Jeff Sturgis on one shoulder and Craig Carper on the other one.
Yeah,
telling you,
just plant the switch.
Just let it
go. Yeah, and I don't know what to do. So I mean, I think the happy medium is, and to Jeff's video I sent you, he incorporated old field management into the switch, which I think is the way to go. I think that edge and that old field management and having some browse in there is the way to go. Now, would I go and plant 12 acres of switch and seed white clover into it? Probably not, because I don't think that that's creating the structure and the woody browse ultimately that those deer are going to need. Browse will never be replaced in their diet.
Mm-hmm.
So, hard to say ultimately, but
I don't think what you're saying about them not leaving the, like an old field management project is a deterrent for me. I just think that they do
Yeah, they're going to leave.
You're just naturally creating edge on the outside and stuff, and it will create hunting opportunities even if they are in there for a
I mean, I still think it's the best. I mean, if you could drop 10 acres,
think about to be able to even call them out of there too. Like,
yeah, if you could drop 10 acres of overgrown field, onto a property with food around it, right? I mean, those deer are going to be securely bedded in there, and you're going to pull them out of there.
Well, maybe this year will be a good.
It's just patience. Right,
yeah,
that's the big thing, because that may not develop for 3 to 4 years. Where your switch in year 2 probably is going to be 6 foot tall, and you're like, "Damn, this looks like good."
Yeah,
that's a crazy thing. The moment you see it, you're like, "Damn, this looks like good bedding."
Yeah.
But the question is it good bedding? Does it actually provide good bedding? And then the strategy is like, when I do think it's good bedding is in the winter for thermal cover. But then if you're not planting it on a south-facing slope, then it's probably pointless from a thermal setting.
Yeah.
So who knows, man? I mean, ultimately a deer's diversity of habitat use is going to drive them to use timber. It's going to drive them to use old fields. It's going to drive them to use switch. It's just, I think people probably get wrapped up in the fact that a big field of switch is going to just be the bedding area for a mature buck. And I don't think
I wish it was that easy. Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I do think they'll use it. I 100% believe that they'll push a doe into that and bed up. But I think in terms of like normal bedding, I do think the one thing about switch I do believe is and maybe this is where the allure to it is coming in, is if you think about a deer here in the next 2 to 3 months, full velvet buck, he doesn't want to be in thick woody browse. He doesn't want those sensitive antlers banging off of briars and saplings and stuff. Yeah. If he's bedded out in the middle of a switchgrass field that's 4 or 5 feet tall with just grass touching it, that's not going to be nearly as...
But he won't do it on a regular basis unless there's food like we're talking about.
Correct. He better be adjacent to a bean field, which is what I think you see. Like when we go out to Illinois and
like
scout,
adjacent.
Yeah, we go out and scout. That deer stands up in the switch. He moves 50 yards and he's in the bean field and he goes right back in.
It's got to be that close too, yeah.
But I think as you get closer to like October, November, they're going to use it, but it's got to be intermittent. I think they would use a woody, thick, browse-based area way higher than they would a just monoculture of switchgrass, which I think is why you have to intermix those old fields into it.
The cool thing about this field that I'm talking about is there already is quite a bit of bedding around it. So there's we have prevailing west winds in most cases, whether it's north or south. And so like on the, let me see here. So I'll orient this towards you. The field is like this, and the dale's over here.
Yep.
Okay, they're already bedding over here, which would be the north, south, west, east. So there's a thick knob right here on the the southeastern side of it. This food plot I'm talking about is on the southwestern northeastern side of it. Sorry. So with these winds, there's already a lot of bedding happening like on this ridge and over by this food plot and stuff.
Which is probably why it makes it hard to approach it. Right, because all the bedding's on the east side.
Most of it happens over here right now. Yeah, just because this field's ag.
Yeah.
So on a northwest wind, this southeast ridge. You remember when Colton and I saw that nice 3-year-old with the kicker, and that's all down here on the pinch. They just drop right off of it and over into here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and also this field isn't just flat. It humps up in the middle of it, and so no matter what I plant in there, there's different levels of elevation. That I think they'll use. So my hope is that dude, honestly, I am, I don't know, even in our conversation here as I'm going back and forth, I'm leaning towards the old field stuff. Like if I can prove to myself in the first couple of years on the place we were on this year.
Why not strip it?
What do you mean?
Why not run?
Well, that'd be the other thought.
2-3 drills wide, skip 2-3 drills, run 2-3 drills wide, skip 2-3 drills. So you create just a strip. Because I mean that now you've got a ton of edge and you've got that intermixed.
Yeah. I mean that would be maybe even better.
Easy to burn too.
How so?
Just because you're gonna have those woody, you're gonna have high flames, then die into low flames. High flames die into low flames.
Yeah.
Because you're still gonna want to
just put a break all the way around it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I mean. If I had an open pattern, that's what I would have done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got a little bit of time to, watch what this stuff we did this year will do, and that'd be kind of
that's a huge step in what you did this year to see how it's
massive.
And it'll be 3 to 4 foot tall ragweed here by July.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, dude, even better case scenario, if I can get so we negotiate a contract with our farmer every Christmas, shortly after Christmas, going into January. That's when I think that's when he writes the check, and that's when we sign the agreement and stuff. It's a three-year deal. Even better than me planning it is if I can get him to allow us to buy back that other adjacent ridge of food at his cost, even if it is alternating corn and beans every other year.
Just a big grain field.
I think that would make a lot more sense than us having to plant it every year. So I can just focus on
dude. I mean,
think
about how much it costs to plant a 12-acre cornfield. It's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how much they cost.
I mean, those I bought 50. So I was gonna say a NutriCrave, and then the other one is this. It's like a direct corn company called Hybrid 85. So I don't know. I just found it online, read a bunch of reviews. Bought it. So anyways, it's 50-pound bags of corn per acre. I think they're like $108 per bag.
Okay.
So you're talking about, let's say 10 acres. It's over $1,000 just in seed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and fertilizers.
Ridiculous right now.
I forget what I haven't bought my stuff for beans yet, but
I haven't bought my stuff for corn yet. For next week.
Yeah.
Kind of just like wait to have the sticker shock all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan, at least.
Just don't look at it.
Just don't look at it. Just don't look at it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy when you get into that side of it because, there's a lot and again, ultimately we're not farmers, right? We're not going to be perfect at planting and doing this stuff. Like we're just trying to grow shit. And to our point earlier of like being in your element, we're not like, it's fun to do that, but that's not our element, running big drills and understanding spacings and calibrations and like that's our wheelhouse. That's why we plant brassica plots and spray them with deer grow. And it's like, yep, there you go. Boom. Done.
I can definitely understand conceptually like how a deer will use it. I mean, I think, I do feel really confident about being able to analyze that stuff once it's in, or even as we're looking at it on a blueprint. But the act of actually going out there and planting a 10 or 15 acre, grain field and being successful with that, managing weeds appropriately and stuff is, there's a lot of cost involved. There's a lot of tips and tricks to know how to do it right, and it's, I've been planting. That first bean field I planted was probably, how old am I? 30? It's probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, probably.
And I'm far from like, being the guy that's like, I know how to do this.
No, I mean,
because it's not big. It's not like I'm farming every day. It's like the only time I use my sprayer and my, we still have a ferminator that we use, and I've got another disc and some stuff, and it's like the only time I'm using that is 3 to 5 times a year when I'm planting food plots, and it's like the stuff better work. And
dude, that's what I lost when I sold that small 25 horse Kubota. I bought that in 2018, and I pretty much only use it for food plots. Had like 34 hours on it, and in like 4 years, because all I use it for is like 3-4 hours a year for food plots, and then it's like back in the barn. And I mean, I do little things with it around the house, but I don't ever like use it. So
we've got no shortage of hours on the tractor. Dad put some serious time.
He's a mower, that's why.
On the brush hog, and
he's a mower.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's when you start to look at that from a landscape level of like, what can I do here? What can I do here? There's also a point of like, you don't want to do so much that like next year, like, oh, okay, that like everything worked. Because maybe it wasn't everything. Maybe it was just because maybe you just kept that grain field back there, and it wasn't adding the switch.
There's some tried and true things that, like, for sure, I would say just get it done. Like the timber.
Put more food in.
Timber's probably the biggest, in my opinion. I'd start with timber.
See, and that's because of the habitats that we're in.
Yeah, depending on the situation.
Mine is I need more food. I put more food in.
But timber does
more
that,
deer.
though. Cut your timber.
Yeah, it's just a longer process.
It's a low-hanging fruit. It's not a long process. I'd say get your forester out there, walk all of your timber.
It's a year and a half process.
And say, how much of this can I get rid of? What needs to be harvested? What can be cut down? How
it's a year and a half process now. I mean, in terms of,
oh yeah, everything's a process.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where I'm at. And that'll be huge. That'll create a ton of bedding and a ton of food.
And the reason I say that is once it's done, it's done. for a few years anyways.
Then it's get prescribed fire through there or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, that's a big, and that's the next big step on at least my Ohio place. When I was there yesterday, I mean, I've got some big oaks on that place.
Mm-hmm.
There's some money on there.
Yeah, nice.
And there's enough of them that, it's like, take these two, leave that one, take these two, leave that one, take these two, leave that one. So, you have at least a good stand left behind when you're done. But I mean, I bet that shit gets thick, and there's some significant cash that can come off that property.
That's awesome.
I don't know about on this new Kentucky place. I mean, I've got a lot of timber because I got 200 plus acres, but it's not nearly as good a timber as my Ohio place. It's just there's some oaks and stuff, but there's a lot of randoms and stuff in there too.
Yeah.
But I mean, just from a pure cut basis, the one thing I am surprised of is that place is a lot thicker than I remember. Like even in the timber, there's a lot of underbrush.
Ohio?
No, Kentucky.
Or Kentucky, okay.
There's a lot of underbrush in there.
Nice.
A lot of briars, a lot of stuff like that. So there's a good amount of browse on there, whereas Ohio's like, even the one guy who came over was fixing the internet yesterday. He was like, man, there's not many places I can see the whole way through the woods up there. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good thing. But it's because it hasn't been cut in 40 years. So 45 years. So that will be.
Where are you at on that? Are you getting?
I've got 2 foresters that I'm in contact with. I'm just not sure because, Jed's kind of referred to people, frankly, they're all retired. So there's just everybody that I'm talking to, no offense to them, they're just kind of young and new. And this is a big, you make a cut, you don't go back on it.
Yeah.
So you just want to have somebody that you really feel comfortable with. Like, this guy knows his shit. He knows my goals. He's not out here just to make a buck on my timber.
Sure.
Because there's a substantial amount of money on that table that whether I use it to pay that down or I use it to invest in another one, probably the latter, Nick. I don't want to screw it up, and I don't want to screw it up for my habitat either.
Sure.
I want to make sure there's oaks behind because eventually I will sell that place, and I don't want somebody to come in and be like, Jesus, he just stripped this thing out. I want them to come in and be like, oh, there's still some significant oaks and it's thick as balls.
I don't think you need to worry about that.
You don't think so?
No.
You're on the deer hunter mindset. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you're in deer hunting.
Yeah.
Central right there.
I just don't want to look like a clear cut. I hate that.
You do?
I do.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I love it. I love seeing the 170-inch rack coming out of it.
I know. It just looks barren to me, though.
Yeah.
Just like a barren.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I will do a pretty gnarly select cut on it here, probably in the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Dude, it bounces back quickly. I mean, yeah, for a minute you see the tops and whatever, but it doesn't take long for it to just look like a young forest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't bother me. It's more of like no mature trees on the property.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. There's some interesting things, and I don't know how to kind of take them yet. I've got 2 knobs that sit above my food plots that are like a bunch of pine, I don't know, red pine. I don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah. Pine. Christmas trees.
Pine. Yeah, tall pine though.
Chris pines?
I have to imagine if I clear cut those off, those knobs will be real thick bedding to drop down.
Those should be the
there.
first things to go, dude.
Yeah. I told Ben Rising, I was like, hey, you know anybody that wants to cut pine? He's like, no.
Nobody, just cut them.
Yeah. They're huge. There's a lot of them. I mean, it's 4 acres worth, 5 acres worth.
Yeah.
So I'll put that
there are some
I've seen some
smaller Amish buyers. They'll cut pine.
Yeah, I'd be all for it. And I mean, dude, it would be thick, and it would be just right there, big buck bedding knobs right down in.
I'd do that as soon as possible.
Yep. So that's the next move. So I have started to talk to foresters. I am hoping to have somebody come down and look at it in the next. I'm actually gonna have somebody look at my Kentucky place too, just see if they're like, yeah, I'd cut all this because there's some big timber in the valleys and stuff that there's not cover or anything. I don't know what to do with it. It's just big open timber, which
maybe whoever cuts your oaks and stuff, see if they'll also take the pine while they're in there.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably do. Yep. But yeah, it'll be good. It'll be interesting. I've never experienced it. Do you know much? You don't have to tell us, but do you know how much your dad got on the Hinton?
I do.
Did he make good money on it?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he mostly cut? White oak?
White oak and chestnut oak.
They did take chestnut oak because I have a bunch of chestnut too.
I believe so, yeah.
Yep. And he made good money.
Mm-hmm.
How many acres was that?
That whole farm, I think, is 320.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe at most a third of it is timber.
100.
So maybe
timber?
100 acres.
And they just did a select cut?
Yeah.
Or did they do like a hard cut?
Jed's pretty conservative. Jed's the one that
Jed
markets
did it.
him.
Yeah, so he did a good job.
Yeah, it was also like at the exact right time.
Yeah,
I think
peak timber values.
timber was peaking.
Stumpage values, yeah.
And and that's the advantage of like having having worked with a forestry consultant is like if they have you on the radar, they're watching those
market values.
Those markets every day. And so if they see something coming, they're like, hey, now's the time. We need to take this out.
Yeah, it seems so foreign to be like, okay, like sell it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
once you do it, I mean, it's not really that complicated. It's like we can talk all we want about a timber sale. And all it is a guy come in, identifies the trees that are valuable based on, where the markets are at, and they sell it to a crew. And then a crew has, in a lot of cases, a year to come in and do it at their leisure. And so you have to, it's inconvenient in that sense.
Yeah,
but
so I was going to say, that's the only other thing. It's like your farm might be out of commission for a year.
Mine was. They cut our farm last October.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was during the thing.
Yeah, so my farm could
deer
be
season.
out of commission for a year, which is why you got to buy another one.
Well, dude, not totally out of commission either. I mean, yeah, while they're right there working, but I mean, those crews move fast, and like within a week, they'll be back in there munching on them tops.
Yeah. Do you get paid up front for that?
Yeah.
So I could buy another one, Nick. It's a good idea,
Another
Nick.
farm?
Should do it.
Yeah.
If they're going to be,
Yes.
take that money. I mean, because that's what I would do is I would invest that money in another property.
Sure.
But if they're in there cutting and like that farm's out of commission, it's like, you better have another Ohio farm.
Yeah.
Just make sure my wife hears this.
Yeah.
Jared said so.
It's Jared's idea.
Nick told me.
Why not?
Yeah. It'll be interesting because that is the next step. But there are some substantial oaks in there. And like I'll show you this picture. Everybody can't see it, but like I've got several like that.
Yeah. I mean, that would go for sure. Yeah, the posted sign puts it in perspective.
A lot.
That's a big tree.
I got a lot of trees like that in the back property.
Yep.
But you see what that looks like.
Did those
just
foresters
nothing
come down
there.
and walk the property?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're doing next.
Yeah, start there. Just get a few opinions.
Yeah.
Have a few down. Have them
That's
all
what
walk
I do.
it.
And I need to get somebody to do the CAUV anyways, which is I'd like them to be my guy for everything. But if one of them processes a CAUV, I don't care about if they're not the right timber guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the big one because that back part of the front part and the sides are really they have good timber. Well, tornado came off the one side, so it's thick on the one top. But then as you get back, it's just big oak hardwoods, like in a big valley, and so there's just not. I mean, there'll be acorns and deer will be moving through there, and I have pictures of deer, but it's just not good deer habitat.
Yeah. Well, dude, to put you at ease on the timber consultant piece of it, they're kind of like a real estate agent. They work on commission.
Yeah.
And so they want to sell your timber for as much as possible.
Right.
It's just, can you work with them? And do they have the buyers? Can they,
yeah. And that's where, and I'll get a feel for some of these guys that I'm talking to, but I'll reach out to a few others and see what they come back with. But
I forget what it is. I want to say it's like 8 or 10%.
I think that's what Jed told us is like up to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring me $100,000. I'll give you $10,000. I don't care.
Absolutely. It's hard to go out. I mean, you don't know what you have, right?
I
don't either. I don't even know what some of the trees are.
I just showed you. I was like, oh, that's a big oak. I don't know what it's worth.
Yeah.
It would be neat to like walk that with a Jed and him be like, yep, that's $1,000 tree. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Because I had somebody tell me that one time.
Even Lauer could do that for you.
Yeah. I had a guy walk my Kentucky place, the first one I have, the smaller one. And we were walking through, and I was like, "Oh, it's giant red oak. It looks awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, that tree's like $500." I'm like, "Fuck, man! Like I couldn't cut that tree for $500."
It's really not.
It's like
that,
an
it's really
epic,
not that hard.
100-year-old like red oak.
Yeah.
And it's like if you have a bunch of them, I get it. But it's like one sitting in the bottom. It's like, really? I'm gonna get $500 for that?
Yeah. Well, and you may have a few. Like if you walk in, they're not going to say, okay, this tree's worth this much. This tree's worth this much. As much as it would be like, hey, if there's any trees you don't want cut, or you want to know what they're worth first, go out and mark them.
Yep.
And then we'll,
Yeah, and I just want somebody to walk through and look at it like I do, which is here's a huge white oak flat, right? There's 75 white oaks on this flat. I want 25 of them still standing when you're done, right? And in the right places that they're going to thrive. I want the other 50 out and making me money.
Sure.
And then hopefully that's how people look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. But it's a big step. I'd be interested to see how many people listen to this actually have had their timber cut and how confident they are about what they got. Because you hear nightmare stories about that stuff.
Yeah, well, most of the nightmare stories come from
Straight logging.
Straight to loggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody representing you. And
yeah, that's the threshold that breaks it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But, I mean, it's crazy to think that, what'd you say, 25th? Like, next week is May. Holy balls. I've seen some velvet growing.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
We're starting to turn the corner here.
It's gonna be
Where does Anna do? I mean, this is the time
beans
of year where...
We talked about beans. When are you putting yours in? Memorial Day?
End of May.
Yep.
End of May. I got the drill rented. I've got all my clover in. I planted 9 clover plots.
Mm-hmm. We got rain the other day, which is good.
Yeah, finally. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see how those work out. So this is the first time with clover that out of fear for, dealing with weeds, which just seems to always just take over my clover plots. And I know it's turning over that soil is what does it. So fortunately, I've planted all these clover plots before, meaning there's not a ton of thatch to compete with. And so I went and just I broadcasted seed on all these. I went a little heavy on the rate, just because I'm not, like I said, I'm not turning the soil over. I'm just broadcasting seed, broadcasting fertilizer right on top of it, and then torching it with Glide, 2 quarts per acre.
Yeah.
And my hope is that a little bit of rain just helps it work all that seed to the soil.
It will. Fertilizer will work in.
And I'm assuming this is going to work in my benefit, if anything, if it'll make any difference at all. But the fact that it was so dry for like maybe a week there, it was real dusty and the soil gets real fine. And then we got a nice heavy rain, I think it'll almost accept that small seed a little better. And all the stuff was already browning down. So
I did that on 1 acre on that new Kentucky place. With
brassicas?
No, with
clover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nuked it and clovered it. No pre-emergent, obviously, in that tank, just Glide.
When was this? Last year?
No, this year. When I went and sprayed for corn and stuff.
Okay.
So I emptied that tank, rinsed it out, no pre-emergent in it, and just went through and did Glide on it. Normally in those plots, I'll have to come back in mid to end of May, and I'll put Boost and clethodim in a tank, and I'll have to grass. Because that grass a lot of times isn't up yet for the Glide, and it's sitting in the seed bed. And so it will grow here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so at the end of May, I'll come in with just Glide and Plot Boost, and I'll nuke the grass, and then it's off and running. Okay. You want to release it right before you get to the heat of summer.
When
otherwise,
are you doing that?
Like mid to end of May. Yeah.
Okay.
It's about the same time you're putting in beans,
okay.
A little bit earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to release all that grass, and then or kill the grass, release that clover from it, and then you'll be good. And by the time you get into like September, October, that shit will be like plump.
That's what you want.
Plump.
Feel it all the way down to my plums.
All right, that's all I got today. We have anything else?
Yeah, no, that's like where we're at with things. We just between guests here, I suppose. So we've got some fun ones coming up, and I mean, food plots going in the meantime. We're wheeling and dealing on the properties. A lot of windshield time, and
selling properties, trying to get to the farms and get things in order.
I'm gonna get some turkey hunting in. And
me too.
Next weekend or two, I'm gonna borrow one of Dad's decoys, and I'm gonna go down and hunt with our buddy in Greene County. Or what?
Greene.
He's in Greene County.
Yeah, and
I think there's a pile of birds down there and stuff, and so I might hunt the farm on Saturday.
I might take Harlan. It's Pennsylvania Youth on Saturday, so I might take him just probably out back and see if we hear any birds, or maybe I don't know if I want to drive clear back down the Ohio farm, but it's Ohio opener this weekend, obviously. So, and I had a ton of birds, so I don't know if I'll show you videos like in the front, and they're just like right in the front yard. I could see them like coming over the hillsides.
Ripping.
Yeah.
They're frustrating animals because it's like they're not like intelligent. They're not smart, but man, they just like sometimes they just come running in, and sometimes they're just like they're not I don't know what's on their mind,
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of these like hill mountain type birds they're freaking tough birds. I mean, they're like ancient dinosaurs living in there that they get hunted and they just don't die.
Yeah. I mean, they're not dumb either. I mean, they're dealing with like bobcats and stuff in a lot of cases. And
I've seen a lot of jakes this year, which is good for next year. Like a lot of jakes. But Yeah, I mean it's been pretty good. I mean, it's hard for me to then fathom like Harlan shot his bird almost a month ago.
Yeah, it's nuts.
For open and for youth in Kentucky, and so Kentucky's open. So if I end up back there this weekend, I'll hunt Kentucky myself. Go over to the farm and kill bird.
What was that? Thea Vaughn and the other dude went and hunted with
Caleb Presley.
Michael.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
It was hilarious. Yeah,
Theo didn't seem into it.
What did Theo say on his like podcast? He called him like the Osama bin Laden of turkeys or something. I was like, I don't know if I'd make that relation to it. Like,
I think that they were like, they're like, are we gonna eat them? And Mike and Waddell's like, yeah, we're gonna eat them today. And Theo's like, he's like, geez, give him a day with the Lord, man. Give him a day with the Lord.
They also had the I can't remember his name, but he's a linebacker. He's playing for the Steelers now.
Dude's huge.
Yeah, he just got traded to the Steelers.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Cole, maybe?
That sounds
something. Right. Yeah. So he just got traded to the Steelers. So we might have a football player on here in a week or two. So working on a deal. Working on something.
That's all you're gonna tell us?
That's all I'm telling you. We're working on something. It'll be really cool if it ends up working out.
Sweet.
But it should. We'll figure it out. But yeah, other than that, keep your comments coming and tell us what you're into and what you got going on in your farms, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Take me